quest for the correct brick commence. Nope. Nah. Say goodbye to your fingerprints with these. Unfortunately, these aren't too far away. But I do really like those. And I might be able to get away with them, and I'll explain why in a bit. Well everybody, hope you're well. We're back to have about 7 working days off because of the weather. As you might know, the whole country's been in a bit of a freeze over the past week or so. So we've worked so hard just to get it out the ground and ready to start building. And as soon as we were, boom, that thing hit. So we've been off for a week. I'll turn you around, I'll show you what we did manage to get done in that time, and then we'll tell you what the plan is for today. Right, well, managed to load out, get everything ready, got the wall starters on, they're ready to go. That thing must have popped off, wet the wall a bit, but we'll work around that. We can't attach anything to that yet because that's cast iron. The plastic things don't fit, so we're having to bodge something in every night, but a pain in the arse, all sorted. We'll get there. It's all there, ready to go straight into that, but just getting a connection from there into it. Anyway, so we're all set up. I'll uncover this now. We'll get the profile set up on this corner. Just simple clamping the aluminium profile to it. Nothing special there at all. I'm sure you've seen that before. And then we'll go for it. What I'm going to do, as you can see, we're a bit out of the ground there, so already up to damp. So I'm going to get this one as high as I can. I'm about chest height, mate. Where am I? Well, I might get about 10 course on maybe before I can't reach it. Let that go off, and then we'll go over there where we've got a little bit something different to do over there, because you see that ground level still a little bit low there, so we'll explain that once we're over there, and then we'll get cracking on from there. So right then, finally, let's get started. Right, true to form, I've changed my mind as where I'm going to put the profile, therefore I didn't put any profile holes in. I didn't took the perp out, but I got this with me. I suggest you get one of them if you haven't got one. A masonry bit for your multi-tool. Take some joint straight out. Excellent. Right, so I've got that up, and just to show you how I do it is, as you can see, that is, that focus is ever so slightly out. It's going that way, but I've done it like that on purpose to take into account the pull of the line. When you get that line on nice and tight, it's just going to pull it in just that little bit. If you've got it nice and set up perfectly, I'm not saying all profiles do this, I'm not saying the Blakes do this or anything like that, but just a simple clamping, a bit of that aluminium or a bit of timber, whatever you're going to use to it, you've got to have it leaning out. If I had it perfect, by the time I put the line on, it pulls in, and then your corner will be out slightly, which you'll probably see when you're running this back in here. So out ever so slightly, and then get a line on tight as you can, and then just check it. What we're going to do now is get a just tuck that out a little bit further, look, get our profile up there. I'm going to pin it to the wall with some very nice brand new Dutch pins that were sent to me by Richard.
Sent by Amazon via other obviously things that,
yeah,
whatever.
Well, he told me it was Santa, but there you go. Yeah, there you go. So it's nice, isn't it? So we'll get them in there, get them over there, and we'll show you what we're going to do with it. Right, to show you what I've done here, for a corner block behind the profile there to keep it off the wall, and then I've got one either side of the corner block, one corner block either side of the profile there, just so when you Dutch pin them in, or Dutch clamps, whatever you want to call them, it's supported both sides, so it doesn't twist, because I've only put the clamps on the one side. So if you do that, they can tend to twist the profile, so just support it both sides of that. The reason why I've kept it off is because I haven't got a door block. I used to have all the profiles and all that sort of stuff, but my van got stolen a couple of years ago, and it all went, unfortunately. So there we go. Anyway, so I've kept that off there now, so I can put the line straight around here and have the corner block like that, and then move that up as we go. Now the only what I've done here, I should say, as you can see, I've kept it off there because when you lay bricks, I don't mean to teach you how to suck eggs or anything, but you lay bricks, you lay a brick down, and you're supposed to obviously lay it to a line and keep it a line's width away from the line. If it's touching the line, you'll fell the line, and every brick after that won't be plumb. Too far away from the line and the wall won't be plumb either way. So to keep it right, you keep a line's width away from the line. Now if I was to clamp that straight to the brickwork, the line will come round here. So if I lay the line's width away from the line, let's say it's clamped there to there, then I'm way off plumb. So what I've done, I've packed it out, the width of the line plus, well, twice. So the line will come across there. I keep a line's width away from that, and that'll bring my wall as I'm laying it flush with what I've already built there. And then away we go, all the way up. So next thing I'm going to do, which I won't show you because you've seen it a million times before, I'm going to bed these on. These are telescopic air bricks. They go, or periscopic I suppose. They just create a solid channel of nothingness that vents the underside of the floor there, the suspended floor. So any moisture from there can just continuously dry out, as continuous airflow. These are on all the way around along the front, which I'll show you a little bit later, and they're down that side as well. So the whole thing can just air can circulate around it. Hopefully, that's the plan anyway. So bed them on, get a roll of damp on it, and then I'm going to get my laser level out, and I'm going to laser level a brick on each corner. There, over there, all done then, and then get the line up and the gauge up then off that, and then away we go. Okay, got those bedded in now, so we're good to go. I'll put a smear of compo on top of this, ready for a 4-inch damp. I obviously don't mind putting a smear of compo on or whatnot, and then putting the damp on, but I'll never be convinced that it does anything at all. I think it's a complete waste of time, but I don't mind doing it. What I won't be doing, because it is a complete waste of time, is any vertical damp in there or a continuous cavity. I've never seen it other than some people on YouTube. I've never seen it out in the real world, so to speak, and I've never been asked to do it or know of anyone who does it, and I don't think anyone can ever explain to me how the pros of doing it outweigh the cons. It's no. Yeah, enough said about that, because it's utter nonsense if you ask me. One thing I will say is now the wall ties start on this course now. I'll put a little bit of insulation. I'll tuck some down there a little bit, 150mm, just to get us down to that level there, just for the sake of it. I think you're supposed to do it anyway, but then it'll all start from here. So wall ties on from here, every reveal, which is the edges, basically the ends of the wall, which is there and where it meets the door here, will be every 3 course, and then every 6 otherwise, and then I'll put one every 3 on the wall ties, the wall starters, which I'll just show you because they're a bit different than normal. If I can find them. I don't know, they're on the floor there, look. These things, they usually come as a pack, and the old bracket's already made up, and you just slot them in and away you go. But these things, you got to bend them off, and see if I can show you one-handed. That's not mine, by the way. Yeah, and then you got to, which way does it go? That way, innit? And you got to bend it yourself and whatnot, and it's all a bit rubbish, isn't it? But what can you do? I can only buy what they sell. But yeah, there we have it. Anyway, they go in. I'll just show you like that. Every 3 course on top. Every course of blocks, every 3 course of bricks, that is. And that ties it all into that. It does get a good fixing now, to be fair. That's pretty good. Some of them are quite really loose. Not much bearing, so to speak, in there, but yeah, pretty good. But there we have it. A bit of pain in the bum, but we have it. That's what we've dealt with. So yeah, right in. Finally, let's build something. Right, hopefully you can hear me. Richie's just cutting some halves for us out of these things, and then we're going to go for it. That's all set up, ready to go. We'll set you on a time lapse once he's done, and yeah, we'll go for it. Right, I've got them up as high as we, well, practically need to now. I'm about 22 off the lowest point, 22 course. It's a bit slippy and a bit muddy and whatnot. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go over there and set myself up and do a bit of work over there, which I'll show you. But she's going to just do a bit of moving around and get the trestle set up so I can pop back over here. I just want to show you the pointing there. How it's not gagged, is it? It's almost flush pointed. I don't know whether you can see that. Around there. A bit better. So just to match it up as best as I can, even though the courses aren't running, which is what we've already talked about. You know, I'm not gonna try and match those course for course size of them. So I'm just gonna iron them out with this little bad boy and just try and mimic the pointing a little bit, and then yeah, and then we'll go from there. Well, this side is a near mirror image from that side, apart from we've got a little bit more detail damp wise to go in here. But as you can see, there's a bit of a ground difference there, and that tree is going to come out eventually. Irrespective of that though, the ground is going to stay there because that's the neighbour's fence there, so that's not going to go, that's going to stay there. What we need to do is just protect ourselves in case any of that falls down up against our building here. So all I'm going to do, I've bricked these air bricks in, and I'm going to put some wall ties across, same as what we did over there but sort of backwards. Wall ties first, then I'm going to roll a length of, where are we, 600mm damp out along here, and then I'm going to come up 450, and then that is going to go lapped on top of our height there, on top of our work at 450, and then that will create, and I'll just build straight off that then, and if any of that ever falls down, causes any damp issues going through the wall there, it'll be like a barrier there with the damp. I think it's a bit of an over-engineered really, but it's why not, eh? Why not? This has also moved now, this door here. I suppose I should explain really. What we usually do is keep the doors down the course, just so then a standard threshold on the doors becomes less. So it becomes closer to the finished floor level, so to keep that transition smoother out of the house. In here, which is done, this is the side door, back door, beg your pardon. It's coming over now to create a bit of a reveal here, which means that the boiler can go here, as well as storage for coats and blah blah blah, whatever. So we just need to move that over a bit. It does mean that we're going to have to brick that in and have this door on top of the damp proof course, and what's the word I'm after, a low threshold sill on it, because this air brick here that we put in, and we don't want to drop that lower, we don't want them on different heights to each other. So that's it. So it is where it is, but there we go. So it's a much better idea having a big reveal here now. It comes from about there really. Basically this door was going to move over, it's now staying there, so this reveal here is going to be kept, and our door behind us, our new one, is going to be in line with this one, and it's going to create a corridor here from the garden straight into the utility, and all boots and coats and everything can go there, whereas the bifolds there are into the kitchen, living area, blah blah blah, clean, dirty, clean. So that's that. So we'll do this now and then we'll crack on with it. There we go. Hopefully that makes more sense now. So that's just on that course there, and then there's 2 courser blocks or 450mm, and then it's just lapped back up over. And then there's anything falls on there now, it will stop that moisture from coming through. I think it's a massive overthought really, but you know, it's no harm it being there. If you're going to do this, you just got to be careful now that we're doing these blocks in concrete blocks as well. So you've got one course that's on the damp, and this course will be on the damp, so the adhesion between the blocks and the compo isn't really there, so you can't just go for gold because it will be very unstable. So I'm just going to put this course through now and then leave it at least overnight for it to go off and then go again. The reason why we're doing blocks is because
I mean, look, there's no point in doing brickwork there whatsoever. I can get over and point it all up, so it'll all be nicely pointed and everything. But everywhere that the neighbour can't see, we're going to do block work. I'm not doing brickwork, especially not a pound of brick. No way, it's a waste of time and effort. Obviously, as soon as we get anywhere near the fence line, it's going to go back to bricks. And all the top, that's all going to be bricks. But unless he's a Michael Caine nosy neighbour, no one's ever going to be able to see the blocks that we're going to lay, if that makes any sense. So there we go.
Look at that, isn't that pretty? It's only 3 o'clock though. There we go, so we're fighting the light here. So what we've done, it's been a lovely day today, so I've jumped back up here because tomorrow's supposed to be a bit drizzly, so I'll get this up as high as we can. So if it does drizzle a bit tomorrow, we can jump on the block work. There's more of that to do. We've also left these pockets out in case it does rain. Again, that's something else we can do. If we get caught out of a shower and we've got some compo left or something, we can jump on that. So that's what we're doing. So I just wanted to show you this. I've got my wall starter in there. I've got my tie into it. And I just wanted to show you how I do this. Let's get a bit more, keep that away from the profile a bit. I only point cavity side of the wall. I just do it one-handed or wrong-handed, you know, I'll swap. That's how I do it. Oh, like that. Just to seal it, basically. I don't do that side because that joint will crack. There's nothing you can do about it. This footing, the new footing will always be different than the old, and this will move or that will move. Maybe this will stay still because there's that much concrete, or that will move or whatever. So this joint will crack. Now it doesn't matter at all, but it's what the customer sees in 18 months time or whatever. They come out and they see a crack up here, albeit hairline, worrying, you get the phone call, blah blah blah. So eliminate the issue, point up at the back to seal it, and then we'll masonry mastic that once we're all done straight up, and which obviously allow for the movement, and that will stay exactly how it is. So that's how I do that. So rest of the day now, we'll get this in as far as we can, and then that'll be that. Just to show you how these wall starters work, what I do when I'm using
frogs with bricks is fill the frog up and then put it in, sort of bed it in a little bit. If you put it in beforehand and then put your compound on top of that, it will stop it going down there and you haven't got a full joint. So fill it up first. I think you are supposed to bed them in anyway, but if you're laying solid bricks, if you put a bit of compo down, then that, it could sort of throw your joint out a bit. It can lift you up. So I suppose it's every case should be taken on its own merits, I suppose. These things are really tight, so I can't really show you. I've got a brick hammer down to hammer them down, hammer them in, but and I go down as flat as you can, and then bed joint, and away you go. And then just to show you over here, when I said earlier, but having this profile leaning back a bit, and when you put your, I haven't touched this, but put the nice tight line on, and away you go, and it pulls it back plumb. So if I'd plumbed the profile perfectly, then pulled it, this will be leaning in ever so slightly, and you'll really notice it when you start running in the front, or in this case the back, it's the rear extension. We start running that in, then the whole thing will be leaning in, and then you'll really notice it there. So it's a bit of a top tip for you if ever you wanted one. Oh, Ryan's back. Oh, we've missed you. Oh man. Right then, weather's against us yet again. A bit of a break in play then, so I'll talk to you about the bricks that we're using and why we've chose them. As soon as I came out and saw this job, I took one look at these bricks and I thought, I know it's going to match them to a T. London Commons, and that isn't a good thing. Because anyone will tell you, London Commons or London bricks in general are an absolute nightmare. They're crap, they're all different sizes, they chip really easy. In fact, about 40% of them are going to have little chips in them anyway. They're bent, they're like bananas, they're really difficult to make look good. It doesn't matter how, it could be the most plummish wall in the world, it could be the most level, you could win awards on your levelness. But if it doesn't look good, then it isn't, is it? It's all about standing back, looking at it and going, yeah, that's nice, that is. And with these bricks, it's extremely difficult to do. So if you can avoid them, avoid them. But I was given a bit of a lifeline because the front of the house, I will show you in more detail in a second. This elevation here, the front, is a different brick to the gable. So I thought, well, let's give them a go. Let's see if I can match them up. So as you can see, front of the house is a completely different brick, almost like a drag face. So I picked a couple up and I got that one, and as you can see, that's a million miles away. And then I got this one, and that's even worse. So it's a no-go, and that was the closest matches I could find. So I was thinking, do I try and match these bricks and have a word with the customer just so the extension looks better as a building by itself, or do I match the back? And unfortunately, because these are so far out, I've had to match the back. But to justify that decision, if we grab a brick, any brick, you're just going to put it in that wall, please, Ish. Anywhere you want. Just put it on. Just put it on the wall. You see how good that is. Almost vanishes, isn't it? So it's a perfect match, so you can't not use them. But the only problem is that even though they are as good as much as that, I also know for a fact, or knew for a fact, that once you actually build the wall and stand back from it, they always look brighter. No matter how close as much as they are, and you've just seen how good they are, when you stand back, it always just looks that pristine brand newness, and it just doesn't transcend very well. But you can get a brick toner to tone them down, which I might do. Only really necessary on this cable, because this is what you're going to see from the road. The back isn't so necessary, because once the roof's up, you're not going to see any of the house really, apart from the bottom of the windows up, so slightly unnecessary. But that was my apprehension about using these bricks, but I've had to, end of the day. So that's why we're using them. Oh, and believe it or not, they are the most expensive brick out of the three I chose. 98 pence each, London Commons. London Commons. 98p, nearly a quid. That's with VAT. It's a lot, ain't it, for a brick that you don't want to use because they're rubbish, and we all know that they're rubbish. So yeah, well, that's where we are. Boris is Britain, man. Boris is Britain. Right, whilst I was waiting for this to knock off, which hopefully it will, I'll just talk you through what we did last night, just to set us up for today. Wall was built, so we came round and I cleaned all the snots off, making sure that it's trying to keep this cavity as clean as possible. And then we came over here, and then we bedded the slip bricks on, and then that's a block in. Then we bedded this damp on, and we've done this damp as a skirt, so it's laps down, ready for the membranes to lap back up onto it, which I'll talk through in a bit. And then we insulated this. I always like to put 150mm below our damp for whatever reason. So, and then we just come straight off that. Then another thing we've done, because we've set this corner out 3 bricks wide, 100mm cavity. Oh, I should stress before any comments start flooding in that this job is to the old regs. Because of where it was passed or accepted by building regs, meant that we can do this one to the old regs, i.e. 100mm cavities, blah blah blah. So the new regs that came into summer 2022 don't apply to this particular extension. So what we've done, 3 bricks. When you do a 3 brick reveal like this, your internal reveal with a 100mm cavity is if you put a 4 block here, this cut, the off cut of that cut goes into your starts your bond there, so it's quite an efficient way of doing it. And what I've done is kept it 110mm cavity instead of 100mm, just so when the insulation expands out, it doesn't push this wall over, because these blocks are next to nothing in weight. I mean, there's a bit of weight in them now because they're wet, but normally that's what it is. So yeah, wait for this knock off and we'll get started. Right, just got this wall up. It was all getting wet and drizzly. Well, it stayed wet and drizzly, so we just thought, let's just get it up and, so to speak, and get it sorted. So apologies for not filming it. Just a couple of things. Obviously, keeping your cavities clean is very important. So I just keep the compo from the back of the block. I don't give it the full beans with the full joint. Just making life more difficult for yourself trying to clean it. Also, another thing that you can see that I can eye that through there, I always leave, this is lintel height here, and I always leave my internal ever so slightly lower than the front. That's just so I can get a big bed on the back, and then minimal, if anything at all, just a scraping on the front for the lintel, because obviously you've got to lose the lintel in the bed joint, so you can't really have a lot under it, if anything at all really. And then they're supposed to tip forward anyway, so if you have that level, by the time you put a bed on there, then it could bring the entire thing too far up, and then all of a sudden you can't lose a lintel in your bed joint of your brickwork. So just keep that a little bit lower. It will help you out. And also, as you can probably tell, I don't plumb the reveals internally. There's no point. And also I step them back, because the window or your door, wherever it is going to go there. If you were to bring that flush, then by the time you've plasterboarded it, you might lose some of the profile of your window or your door, and you can get yourself in a bit of trouble doing that. So always leave it back and give you that plenty of room to play with. That's maybe a bit too far back, to be fair, but just a bit more dab and it's done. One piece of plasterboard down, that's it.
So we sort that out.
It's sorted, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so I just follow that, just eye it up and just keep it back for that reason. And I insulate the reveals later. I don't insulate them yet. Again, because it can easily push the blockwork over. It's really accessible, it's only small, look. So cut it a later date, let it go off and then just shove it in, so to speak, later on.
Get your cavity tries.
All that.
You not your cavity tries.
All that's that. Yes, of course, yeah.
That's another reason for that, because you cavity ties off.
Yeah. Right then. Yeah, that's it. There we go, all done. I like to point the blockwork. I know, Andy, I know. There's no point. I agree, but I can't do it, man. I just can't leave it. But there you go. Right, that's it then. End of Friday, last Friday before Christmas. So we're off for a little bit now. Managed to pull it a little bit back after the big freeze that was last week. But there we go. It is what it is. Right then, until next time. See you soon. Thanks for watching.